This is the Voice of Land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Jay Banky. The Browns win 21-16 over the Cincinnati Bengals today at First Energy Stadium, but their season, as we knew coming into this game, comes to an end and the offseason begins for your Cleveland Browns. Let all the conversations, let all the theories and all of whatever, I guess, reports you see out there, whatever it may be, let all those conversations start to take place out there in the Twitterverse, through various microphones, wherever they may be. We will try to keep it as real as possible when we do talk Browns. But since it is the offseason and there are other teams in this city that actually play, we are going to talk about them as well moving forward here on the Voice of Land as we have our final Browns post-game show for the Big Play Network here this evening. This is the Voice of Land. I'm one of your hosts, Kevin Arnold, and alongside me, as always, it is always Positive Jay and our producer extraordinaire behind the proverbial glass, who still does not want to be on camera, as much as we try to persuade him, as much as we try to get other people like our friend Jared Bates from Illegal Ham to the Face and co-host of the Dogs Table to try to help influence as well. He is just behind this imaginary glass that you guys can't see just because he doesn't want to be on camera, but you'll still hear his voice because he is an integral voice in the Voice of the Land podcast.
Now, is the glass imaginary because I am?
The theory out there is that you're an AI system.
Might be.
You are our Jarvis.
Yeah. Just like you are the Jarvis to our
one day
Iron
we'll
Man.
find you your body to get into.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
We'll find you. We'll turn you into.
We'll get you a little Vision body going.
Yeah. What would his superhero name be? Like, instead of Vision, like, what would it be?
Audio.
That's perfect.
Oh, okay.
Well, audio. the newest superhero coming to the MCU. Audio, also known as Peter Tella. But this, like I said, this is the Voice of the Land. We are on the Big Play Network, partnered with LPV Productions. This is, for the 2021 season at least, this is the final Big Play Browns post-game show. So we do need to talk a little bit of Browns. We're going to talk some Cavs, some other things as well going on around the sports scene and whatever fun conversation comes up, because you guys know we always go off the rails here, and it's natural and it's fun. That's why we come to the studio on Sunday nights, and it's good to actually be back in studio. And we appreciate everyone who's tuned in on Twitter. If you found us and you are watching us right now on Twitter, but somehow not following us, make sure you hit that follow button at VTL_pod on Twitter. You may also be watching on Facebook on our Voice of the Land page or the Big Play page. Make sure you like both of those. Or you might be on YouTube, Big Play or Voice of the Land's YouTube channels. Hit subscribe to both of those. Get all of the sports content you need from the Big Play Network and all of us here at the Voice of the Land. And we know we got our audio listeners out there, as we have the audio superhero who puts it out there for us. You can always tune in on Google, Spotify, Apple, your major podcast platforms. You can always get the audio edition replay throughout the week there, and we'll post some clips for our YouTube channel as well. But got to get into it tonight. If you guys want to follow us individually, our names will appear on the bottom of the screen throughout the show with our Twitter handle, so make sure you follow us. We also have announcements at 7:30 tonight. So start of our third segment, we will have a couple, I guess I'll call them big announcements to tease out there. Not to, I will say that they may not be seen as big announcements, so I'm not going to overplay it right now, but we do have some announcements for the future of the Voice of the Land coming at 7:30 tonight, so you want to stay tuned to that. But switching gears, this is a Browns post-game show, guys. So Browns, they win today. We're not going to break down this game. I'm not doing that. And you can have the conversations of Case Keenum or Baker Mayfield and everything like that. We're going to keep it big picture. And the first big picture topic to talk about does involve Baker Mayfield. It was said before the game, Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, I believe also Tom Pelissaro had it as well, confirmed the report that right now the word in Berea, and this could change because the NFL is not for long, and we know that this report is probably going to go through a roller coaster, and this is why I'm not looking forward to the next at least 6 months before, we get it, 6-7 months before we get into training camp, and 9 months before we see another game played by the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland Browns uniforms. Is this quarterback conversation is going to go through one of the most annoying roller coasters of all time. I have a feeling right now, according to the national guys on NFL Network, credible reporters, just like everybody else that, does that kind of job, are still credible, just to make sure everybody knows that. Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissaro saying Baker Mayfield is the future next year for the starting quarterback position for the Cleveland Browns. I want to know from you guys and the audience out there, because you guys can put in your comments on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever you may be. We'll try to get it to as many as we can, but always positive, Jay. What do you want the Browns to do right now, January 9th, a few hours removed from the Browns season officially ending? What do you want them to do for the 22 season at the quarterback position? And what do you think, if you had to make a prediction now, who do you think will be the quarterback in the 2022 season?
Well, like I told you last week, it's going to be Baker Mayfield. I didn't need those reports to tell you that. Like, I don't have sources. I just have eyes and common sense. He had 16 million maybe guaranteed next year. So dude's going to play next year. He was hurt. What I think they're going to do is, like they did last year, they bolstered the defense. This year, they're going to bolster the offense. There's a huge free agency market for wide receivers in the draft. I don't want him to sign a wide receiver necessarily, but that is going to help the draft, because a lot of those people, that'll help push down wide receivers so that you can get them at more value picks. When it comes to Baker, I also want to see him bring in some competition for him next year. I want to see, like, not him specifically, but I'd like to see someone like a Mitchell Trubisky, because I don't see him bringing in no one like Kirk Cousins or who's the quarterback for the Raiders?
Derek Carr.
They're older guys. They're going to cost you a lot of money. These are analytics people. Do they do that?
No,
they don't very rarely ever do that. So they're going to start doing it now.
It's probably why Jadeveon, and if Jadeveon Clowney doesn't get signed, it's because Clowney wants money and this team won't do big money, like the big money contracts.
He might get a 2-3 year deal though. I mean,
he might,
but he's also here. So that's kind of different.
Yes.
He got a 1 year prove it deal. He proved it. So, but with the quarterback, I could see him, like, I'm not saying Mitchell Trubisky, I just was an example. Someone that you can come in and push Baker, or he could beat him and maybe he'll have that Ryan Tannehill kind of guy. Like, Ryan Tannehill's a really good quarterback.
Yep.
He was stuck in a bad position in Miami, got to a different team, and it helped him a lot, obviously.
It obviously did. So, I mean, I'm kind of on the same page as you. I want to see Baker Mayfield next year, but I also understand that the question marks about him are legitimate, and they should be legitimate, and they should be talked about. It's okay to criticize someone and still like them, still root for them. Guess what? Anybody that they trot out there at quarterback, if this story takes a weird turn, and we know that there's a lot of time and we've seen crazier things happen, whoever gets trotted out there in brown and orange next season, that's who I'm rooting for. We are Browns fans. If you are wearing the uniform, we are going to root for you. If you endear yourself to the city like Doug Deacon has done and been a part of the organization for 50 years, and other guys that come through here, even if they're here for 4 or 5 years, but you feel that endearment to the city and they have that connection, and when they're done playing, they keep coming back here. This is one of the areas outside of their hometown they spend a lot of time in. We're going to love you even longer. But if you're not playing for this team, if you are in another uniform and currently playing, I'm not rooting for you. I'm not rooting against you to hope you get injured or don't play well, but I'm hoping that my team beats you. I'm rooting for my team to beat you. Whoever is in uniform, I'm rooting for them to play well. For me, I still want to see Baker Mayfield. And he picked up the option. But Jay, you brought up the best point. Competition. There's got to be more competition, because I don't see Case Keenum as competition.
He's not. Case Keenum was brought here to teach Baker. That's what he was brought here. Teach that system. He knows that system like the back of his hand. That was Baker's buddy right there. That's what he was brought there to be. That's why they didn't play him when he was hurt. When he should have thought, everyone thought that we should play him. There's a reason he didn't. His job was not to really be played. His job was to teach Baker. You bring in a guy for competition, whatever. Let's say he doesn't work out, and Baker doesn't work out. Let's just say worst case scenario. You have everything ready for another quarterback. Like next year's draft, there is no good quarterback supposedly, but the following one, there's going to be another good quarterback. It always happens,
Right.
and everyone thinks you got to tank to get the quarterback. Like suck for luck. That can't. No, just do what the Rams did. Just trade up.
Yeah.
Once you have your receivers that you all need and all these people, you just trade up. Who cares about trade 3 first-round draft picks, move up to 1 or 2, go get your guy. It's not that difficult.
Well, here's the thing. Look over at Pittsburgh. I mean, what round was Ben taken in?
First,
Was he first round?
Yeah,
I thought
he was the 11th overall pick.
He was okay. He was 11th overall. Okay,
we
so
passed on
Yeah, I
him
know,
to
we
take
did.
Kellen Winslow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
If you could see our AI system's face right now,
what face? He doesn't have a face.
it's
I
a
don't know.
computer screen. I
Yeah.
mean,
Guys,
I mean, could you? I'm sorry. How many years has he been over there? 18 years.
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Could you imagine one quarterback for 18 years?
that's what we want.
I know it's what we want. That's why
we want 10 years. We want 15. We want to have that sustained
definitely.
success at the quarterback position. My only devil's advocate to what you were saying about that quarterback class in the following draft is, yes, I want Baker back, but it's like I'm not fully in. Like I can't just fully jump into that argument pool and do it to like put it on a scale of 1 to 10. I can make it a 10. I can't do that. And I'm going to be honest with everybody. I know that in this business, you can't ride the fence, but I'm like over the fence into Baker Mayfield's backyard, but I'm not fully there. Like I haven't gotten off the fence yet into that backyard because this team has got to have a contingency plan because I don't want this. There's always next year. I don't want old Browns. That's my problem with Twitter right now is that while people are complaining, it's a lot of old Browns mentalities and people kind of like secretly, like it feels like some people are secretly enjoying that because this is the offseason talk that drives the conversation. And, the Browns will still be in every single offseason conversation and somehow the Browns will win the offseason again. I don't want to win the offseason anymore. I'm done winning off seasons. I want to win during the season. So what I'm saying with competition for this Browns team, and when they look at the quarterback position, you need to set up a room where you feel like we are going to have a success as a team because we have a lot of strong players around here and in almost every single position group, because you won't be able to do it in every room. But in most of our position groups, and the most important, the skill positions, the quarterback, we feel like we have a strong enough room where if one person doesn't perform and they're not buying into this culture, the next guy is ready to go and we can still win. My issue with having Case Keenum on this roster and this season coming down to being 8-9 is there were games that this team with all of the talent should have won, and Case Keenum could lead the offense enough to win, to give Baker more time to see if he could get, the shoulder or get used to the shoulder brace and everything like that. He kept pushing it. And yes, it's mental toughness, but it hurt the team. And everybody's in denial, including Baker Mayfield, that he was hurting the team. It comes down to every single year, a few plays in a game and a couple games here or there that you shoulda, coulda won. This is the shoulda, coulda season for the Cleveland Browns. This is the shoulda, coulda season for the Cleveland Browns. It started back in week 1.
Like if we just had a legit kicker, we could be in the playoffs right now. Like there's
Right.
just so many little things that could have went our way that just went the other way.
And the little things
All added up.
all added up. You go back to week 1 when you lost by 4 points to the the AFC representative in the year before the Super Bowl, before that season started. And we thought the resident doctor of the show, Jana Fenstermaker, brought this up before I left home and came to the show. She said that, look at what we were talking about back then. Like, if we can do this against this team and figure out a way to win and win in these big games against the playoff caliber teams, we could have something special this year. Like, one game is not going to define us. Like, I feel like this is just the start of something. It was the start of shoulda, coulda, didn't. They didn't finish in games just like the Chargers game. And, you had a chance in the Raiders game. You had a chance in the Packers game on Christmas Day.
Kansas City to open it.
Even with 4 interceptions, you had a chance, and you didn't get it done. So, yes, I want Baker Mayfield. And I think he will be, that my prediction is that he will be the starting quarterback as of January 9th. And that could change, like I said. But it's a very single, very thin thread to say those kinds of things. We can continue this conversation on the other side of the break and a little bit later in the show, because we do have announcements to get to. We do need to get to our first break of the night as well. This is the Voice of Land. We are brought to you by Vector Technical. They will get the right person in the right job the first time. And DP Construction LLC, reach out to them for all your concrete construction needs. 330-217-4999. That's 330-217-4999. And more information on our sponsors, like Vector Technical, here in this first break. This is the Voice of Land on the Big Play Network.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout Northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
Welcome back to your Big Play Browns postgame show, known as the Voice of the Land, here on the Big Play Network. Kevin Arnold alongside Always Positive Jay and producer extraordinaire Peter Tellup. And before the break, we were talking about the Browns and the offseason and the bigger picture. And I want to get into that here in just a little bit after our big announcements. But I want to switch gears in this segment. But I want to close out our initial Browns conversation because, Peter, I didn't really give you a chance to answer. Is there a guy that you were, before hearing the report about Baker Mayfield and being in good standing with the coach in the front office now and probably going to be the starting quarterback, was there a guy that you were kind of had an eye on that you wanted to at some point come into the conversation and be rumored to be involved with the Browns for next season, and who do you think will be the starter?
Well, I think it's going to be Baker, definitely. And I mean, I've been through, we've all been through so many quarterbacks. And the problem is, Baker had some bad throws. He made some bad decisions, but here's a guy, who wants to win so badly. He's a competitor. He loves this city, and I like him. I like the guy, Is he the greatest quarterback ever? No. But can he get us to a Super Bowl? Can he win one? I think there's the potential there, because you look at, come on, Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. So, and
Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl.
It's the pieces around him. The guy played hurt. Yeah. And we were, even in the games that we lost, the only game I think that we really weren't in was the New England game. Right.
Yeah.
So with as banged up as Baker was playing against, like the Packers on Christmas, we had a legit chance to win that game, and that didn't come down to Baker. I think he's the guy. I got frustrated with the stuff going on in the Twitterverse because
I had to jump off Twitter for a few days.
Yeah, I don't blame you because,
I'm
hearing the reports and I'm sitting there thinking, and Baker's response I thought was telling, because he's like, don't put words in my mouth, because it's not, these everything's getting clicks and getting
Yeah.
shares and getting all this, and Nick Paulus, he tweeted out something about the offseason, and it was a retweet of a tweet, like that tweet was deleted. So I was like, I missed that part, what was going on. But obviously, people are going out there, they're trying to get, stir up controversies, and we don't need controversies. And the last thing I want to see is if we don't have a problem, if Baker and Stefanski and the front office are all getting along, the last thing we need is someone coming out and just making up a controversy, because I don't want to see it like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the stuff, getting stirred up and just stirring the pot to get, reaction when there's really nothing going on there. So,
and unfortunately, that's what this industry has become.
It has.
It's just stirring the pot. And I know that the conversations came up in the critiques and people coming back at, Mary Kay Cabot, who put out that report that Baker Mayfield quote tweeted and,
Right.
Went at, and then some of the former quarterbacks that didn't have nearly the kind of success that Baker's had here, kind of coming to his aid on that too. What I will say is the media members, they are doing their job. When nothing goes well or your season is done now, you're not in the playoffs, it's not a positive season. So
No, it's not.
the stories and the reports that they're going to get and the sources that they have, the reports aren't going to be good. It's not going to tell a good story. I'm sorry. Like, it's not, rainbows and unicorns all the time.
Mhm.
You got to be realistic. This was a disappointing and bad season for this team and for this organization, but you have a chance to get right back to the playoffs because a lot of pieces are in place.
The only change I think I would hope for at this point is that Stefanski stops calling plays.
I agree.
Question that we can keep kind of talking about as we go on through the show tonight, because that is one of those off-season big pictures, and I'm sure we'll talk about that as we go through the off-season as well.
And I'll bet money he does. I'll bet money that he's not the play caller next year.
Interesting. Well,
Hmm.
we
Maybe
may
I'll
have-
find another podcast to bet that on to
We-
win another T-shirt.
well, since there's no sports betting in Ohio, we may have to talk about what credits you'd be willing to put down. We have to call them credits, as everybody else does.
Hypothetical credits.
Yeah,
Well,
hypothetical credits.
it's supposed to go in.
I know,
into effect
it's-
next year.
Yeah. So, like, right now, you still can't do it, even though it's in the works. So we still got to call them credits. We still got to operate that way. This happens every single week. My dad calls me while I'm on the show. One of these times I'm going to answer it, but I'm not doing it right now. I'm sorry.
Just put him right on the mic. Be like,
Yeah,
hey, just so you know, you're
You're
live.
on here.
Yeah, one of these times I will. I'm not in that kind of mood tonight. Like, I still feel good. Like, Brown season's over. But like,
I actually feel good too. They went out and put a professional effort out. I just didn't want him to just not put any effort out there. I
That's
don't know.
yeah.
They weren't on vacation already. They came out and they all tried. It was satisfying to see
And I
that.
think some of the young guys getting a chance to go out there and get in the game, show what they have.
yeah.
They were fired up for it, and I think that was great.
Well, and we're kind of, running down here on the second segment, and I want to give the just due to the Cavs as they should get. So while we talked about maybe doing that a little bit earlier in the show, we'll do that after the break and after our announcements. It'll be a good tie-in to the Cavs as well. Peter, you brought up the fact of, Stefanski not calling the plays. Is there something outside of the quarterback conversation that you guys, and I'll start with you, Jay, that you guys want to see different than what we saw this year? It's like, is there one little thing that could have a big impact and change the
a change
trajectory
of the
this team?
defense or offensive set. I can't stand this obsession with tight ends. Let's get some good fast receivers out there that can catch the ball. Sorry, mentioning the one fast guy on our team dropped another ball today, but hopefully he develops, Schwartz. But
Mhm.
we need a legit number one receiver, and I just don't understand the obsession with throwing it to tight ends all the time.
I mean, that's who Stefanski is, but like you said, I mean, it's
Evolve, man.
evolve. I mean, look at this year. How many wide receivers you got? Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase in your own division. all these guys setting records and setting team records. I know Justin Jefferson was getting close to a Minnesota Vikings single season record this year, held by Randy Moss, a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Like, receivers are, they're having an even bigger impact. They've had a big impact for a while. In this
Ask Stephon Diggs how much, or ask Josh Allen how much Stephon Diggs helped him.
And that was a huge piece for them. That was a huge piece. While it's one move, it did a lot for Josh Allen. It did a lot for the Buffalo Bills. And now they're consistently competing for playoffs and getting into the playoffs and AFC East titles. Peter, is there, other than, I guess, the play calling too, was there something else that this team needs to really look at this offseason?
A consistent kicker.
Yeah. I mean, one of the OGs of the show, Nick Paulus, always used to say, you can't trust a kicker. He kind of go back and forth on that when, we got Chase McLaughlin or Cody Parkey making big kicks, but the very next week, or once you got into the actual weather days down at First Energy Stadium that Phil Dawson had so much success with, these guys kick well when it's warm and when there's not too much weather. When you see the wind start to swirl down there by the lake and the rain, the grapple comes down, the snow comes down, these guys start missing kick. Like, you got to have an all-weather and all-terrain type kicker on this team.
And I guess the question is how do you really find that, right?
Yeah.
Because the weather conditions, I don't know how you could mimic the wind conditions like at First Energy Stadium to have a kicker kind of understand just how crappy that is.
I've been saying it forever. The kickers should never be practicing in Berea with the team. They should always be at the stadium kicking.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they practice in Berea. Like, I'm sorry, the wind is completely different there than it is there.
And you have the opportunity to really make that a home field advantage then.
Mm-hmm. They're really obsessive with people walking on that grass when there's not a game there, though. So I don't know what their deal is.
Yeah, you can criticize Stefanski for going for it on fourth down a lot, but when they had a chance to kick a field goal, but then again, he knew
the kickers better than us, apparently.
I mean, he's probably telling you something there.
It's like, yeah, these guys ain't all that great, but
I mean, boy, it's tough to watch a kick. Just, you already know, like, as soon as it leaves the foot, it's already outside one of the two uprights, and it's just like,
hey, someone on this show is kicking 1,000. That's all I know.
That's right.
I've seen it.
First Energy Stadium, but that was also in April. So, like, I don't know. Maybe am I one of those?
You were born here, man. You can handle it.
Yeah, that's right. It's in my blood. It's in my bloodline. So
there you go.
For me, guys, it's with you, Jay. It's the wide receiver position, and it's adding a bigger piece there to that wide receiver room, because, yeah, I mean, these 12 and 13 personnels, you got to have a strong tight end. Kansas City's really doing it with one tight end, and the teams that have like the one tight end, like George Kittle or Darren Waller, even with the Raiders, he was a big piece missing from that team. Why they were flirting with 500 the rest of the year, because he wasn't able to get back on the field for Derek Carr. You got to have a good, strong tight end that can block, and also get out there and catch the ball, in addition to a number one wide receiver. Now, I want to see Jarvis Landry on this team, and it was good to see him go off today. But we said it from the beginning of this show being a stan or a big fan of Jarvis Landry. We said he is the number one wide receiver on this team because he is the leader of that room. But positionally, he is not a number one.
He's a number two. He's a top-notch number two receiver, which is not saying bad about him at all.
No.
Like, you got to have a number two receiver.
You have to.
You have to have a number one receiver. A guy like Jamar Chase that, guess what? We can't stack the box, because if this guy beats his corner, he's gone. Like, you have to have a guy that's going to put fear into the defense. He was supposed to be Odell. Didn't work out. Not going to get into that.
No.
But, you need a number one receiver for sure.
And it's not even the guy, like, not even just getting open all the time either. How many times in that game that the Bengals, when they won the AFC North last week, what was it again? There was the Ravens, right? I mean, they just threw it up. Burrow threw it up to Jamar
What's what he
Chase.
said? He's like, he's
Oh, no.
out there. F it. He'll get it.
Kansas
Like,
City. Sorry, Kansas City, who
Oh, yeah.
their defense was playing well going into
Mhm.
that game. And their cornerbacks looked lost. And they looked like they were covering him. And yet, 3rd and 27, they give up 30 yards to Jamar Chase because he just goes up and gets it. Burrow didn't even look like he made a quality throw. He just threw it up. But you need guys like that. The quarterback position is arguably the most important position in all of sports, but you need those complementary pieces. And complementary is sometimes used as maybe a negative term or like a very minor term. You need huge complementary pieces in that wide receiver room where a quarterback just feels comfortable. Even if he just throws it up and throws a deep ball, that guy's going to go make a play. Sometimes you got to make a play for your quarterback. That's why the great quarterbacks look even better than they are, because they have those wide receivers. They have those playmakers that go make a play when they need it most. When that throw isn't quite pinpoint accurate, those guys go to make the play. How many times did we see balls hit hands? And even though you can go back to criticize Baker or even Case Keenum and say that the throw was offline or a little bit behind them, you see it in other teams all the time. Those guys reach back, they reach up in the air, they come down with the football no matter what kind of contact they get. Those are the kind of plays, those little things.
You need the receivers that are going to get on. You got mossed. That's what we need. We need guys that can get on. You got mossed. That's
And not this shoulda, coulda, woulda type atmosphere.
like, I got this dream scenario that Baker turns out good.
Mhm.
Browns draft either Wilson or Olave, and then the following year they get in Jigba, and we just roll. Like, that's like my fantasy dream. I know it's never going to happen, but
Smith and Jigba is,
the truth. That dude's going to be one of the top-notch receivers in the NFL when he gets here.
we got announcements on the other side of this break, but the announcement from Ohio State was Brian Hartline, not just the wide receiver coach anymore. He is the passing game coordinator now
Oh, is he?
at Ohio State.
Good for him, man.
So
He's doing a hell of a job there.
I saw that before the game. He's a hell of a recruiter, but he's also a hell of a coach. I don't know how long he's going to be at Ohio State, because he's going to get an OC job, and the way he kind of works with younger guys. I
I mean,
I
it's
can see-
Ohio State. They got a lot of boosters that'll pay that guy.
well,
Like,
yeah,
here's some money. Make sure he stays. It's the
yeah,
power of Ohio State. That's why we're good.
but a huge kind of upgrade there for
Oh, yeah.
Hartline, a well-deserved upgrade there. So he's going to have even more hands on the passing game, where you've seen these wide receivers that, they're 5-star. Every 5-star always works out. Brian Hartline makes sure that 5-star guys put in the work to continue to be 5-star and, hopefully earn that paycheck on Sundays down the line as well. But that is going to wrap it up for the second segment of The Voice of Land, your Big Play Browns post-game show. On the other side, we have a couple announcements, and we need to talk Cavs because they are in Golden State tonight. It is the return of Klay Thompson. Are we nervous? What should this Cavs team expect tonight, and why in big games like this, it is so nice to feel like the Cavs always have a chance now with this young squad they have. We'll talk about all that on the other side. This is The Voice of Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Welcome back to The Voice of the Land. Kevin Arnold alongside producer extraordinaire Peter Telep, and we have a special announcement to make at the top of this segment. There's an additional segment here, but with the water bottle in the way. That's those professional.
We are bringing on Water Bottle.
Yes, we are. We
This
are
is
now
our fourth host.
This is Peter, actually.
Yes, that's Peter. Yeah.
we got Peter on the camera. But outside of all the fun that we have on the show, throughout the Browns season, it has been a big joy to have Always Positive Jay on the show, filling in for Nick Paulus. And we would like to announce now that Always Positive Jay, we are taking away the interim tag as co-host, and permanently now Always Positive Jay is joining the show as my co-host for the Voice of the Land, as Nick Paulus has earned the opportunities at 850 ESPN Cleveland to kind of fill in as host and be on shows, be on the microphone. He's getting those opportunities that him and I talked about was one of the reasons we started this whole thing together. Those are the goals that we have, to be in the industry, to be at big and important and good career building places like 850 ESPN Cleveland. And he's getting those opportunities, and we are so proud of him. This is as much his show as it is all of our show, because he was there from the beginning with me in those studios at OMS. But now throughout the Brown season, it has been a joy to work with you, Jay. We've talked on Twitter. We met that way, became friends. And now to be working on a show like this with you is so exciting that you are now going to be sitting across from me moving forward. And this is now the Voice of the Land with Kevin Arnold, Always Positive Jay, and Peter Tella permanently.
I mean, I appreciate it so much, guys. You guys, I always tell people, they're like, "Oh, you guys got such a professional thing." I'm like, no, I have two professionals carrying me and just teaching me along the way. I'm just trying to pick up as I go, man.
That's one of the best compliments to get, is to hear professionally. We want to have fun on here, and to pull back the curtain. I mean, there is career building aspirations being utilized from this show. But again, the other purpose of the show that Paulus and I always talked about, and that we're going to continue, is we want to bring the sports conversations back and sports talk back to what it should be. Real conversations, not getting wrapped up into all of the hatred and, like, you got to be, if you really like a guy or you really don't like this player, just all the animosity that you see in, with people hiding behind random avatars on Twitter and, being crass towards, whoever it may be, or different ethnic groups, different genders, whatever, kind of sitting behind whatever it is, trying to hide who they are, but kind of promoting this culture that's not what our society is supposed to be. Like, we're all supposed to understand each other, but we don't have to agree. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of opinions. And that's what this show is always going to be about. Opinions are welcome on the table. We can talk about them. We can explain why we disagree. If one person maybe changes their mind because of it, okay. If they don't, it's their opinion. That's what they're allowed to do. So we're going to continue that. Another announcement, small announcement for the show, is we are so happy that the Voice of the Land is going to sponsor the post-game shows for the Cleveland Crunch home broadcast. LPV Productions is well entwined in producing those live streams that you will see starting this coming Saturday, January 15th, the home opener for the Cleveland Crunch at the North Olmsted Soccer Sportsplex. We're looking forward to that and getting out with the guys there. We will have some players and members of the organization on throughout the season, so we'll have some guests every other week.
I will be learning soccer.
Yes,
I know nothing of soccer, and by the end of the season, I hope I know everything about soccer.
Jay will be coming out to some games to maybe learn some production behind the scenes, but also learn about the sport of soccer. Is interested in that, which, you know me, I'm always welcome. I will always love to try to.
Do you like soccer?
Oh yeah, dude. Did
I
you not know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I got
learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Man, I got this great and comfortable U.S. women's soccer sweatshirt for Christmas, and it's got the 4 stars. They've won 4 World Cups, and I'll promote soccer any way I can. And trust me, the reason why American sports fans don't like soccer, a lot of your complaints, I don't like about the game of soccer too, and I wish they would take out, like, all of the diving and, kind of fake injuries and things like that are actually coached sometimes at the youth level in some leagues, which I really don't like. Conversation for another day. But this show is going to be well connected with the Cleveland Crunch. And I will announce here officially that I am now the voice of the Crunch. I will be doing the play-by-play and color for the Cleveland Crunch in season 2, defending MASL, Major Arena Soccer League, 2nd Division champions, reigning champions from last season. looking to defend that title. They got off to a great start on Friday nights up in the state up north, 8-5, the final score in their season opener. So looking to build on champions success. And
congratulations, man. I know this meant a lot to you, man. Like, if you guys didn't get through our sarcasm, Kevin is a huge soccer fan. And I'm just happy for you. I know you got even friends on the team, and just to be able to do that, that's awesome, man. That's really awesome.
And I've told the stories before, talking with the Crunch before, that like those were the games that I got to go to. The tickets were inexpensive. My family didn't have a lot of money, but I have a whole bunch of Hector Marinero and Cleveland Crunch bobbleheads and paraphernalia, as much as I do with Cleveland, the Browns, the Cavs, the Indians, and the Guardians. I have as much paraphernalia for all of them because I got to go to so many of those games, and those are some of my best memories and why I went to Cleveland Crunch soccer camps. One of the biggest reasons why I love the sport so much, because of the influence of the Crunch organization, and to have them back and now to be calling their games and be actually a part of the organization is means beyond the world to me. And I'm so looking forward to the opportunity. I'm going to work my off to prove this opportunity. I'm going to give back to them as much as I can.
Well, I mean, I was telling my friend Rich, like, I've never seen a Crunch game in my entire life, but I always rooted for him to win. Like, when I'd always look in that section in the plain dealer, I'd be like, all right, let's see if the Crunch won. Oh, awesome, the Crunch won. Know nothing about it. They're a Cleveland team, so I'm going to root for you.
Well,
I'll root for the Cleveland Guardians roller derby team. If Cleveland comes first, you're my team.
We should see if we can get some of them on.
We should.
Hmm.
Ooh, that's a great idea. See, I told you it was an AI system. No human can think of that.
well,
Some crazy algorithm went off. He's like,
hey, if the Cleveland Guardians roller derby team comes back, because I know they were out of play for a couple seasons.
do we need to go do with one of those? Because
We should, because
They
I
had
think that would be so. One of my friends, this my computer programs from high school. His wife actually, she does roller derby. They live up in Erie, PA.
it's hardcore.
It is
It
hard.
is.
It is
It is.
crazy.
They just had an episode on Family Guy. That's why I was like,
Oh, God.
Meg is just like beating up everybody, but then someone just kicks her ass, and like, man, that's probably pretty rough in real life.
It looks like really crazy, and I think we should do a VTL night out there.
I'm a huge fan of the show Impractical Jokers, and like sad to hear about Joe Gatto not being a part of it, and unfortunately him and his wife splitting as well. So he's kind of focusing on family right now. But one of their punishments in the last season was James Murray. He had to try to get like a hit in a roller derby team. It was like a female roller derby team. He had to like try to like shoulder chuck somebody. Or else every single time he didn't, each time around the track, they would send out an email to like his assistant and like some sort of like damaging email to them. But like it was intense. Like he couldn't get past the point. Like he couldn't get himself out of the punishment, because like that's like the real deal, man. Like I've seen some roller derby teams and I've seen that on TV before, and it's like real deal. Like, again, fully open. Cleveland Guardians roller derby team right here. And we'll take the Cleveland Guardians baseball team. We'll take any of them as well on here. Anybody's welcome.
Dude, I'm weird. I could watch like all these off, like not the major sports. Like I love watching volleyball live. Like
yes,
I love watching volleyball.
That's why I love the Olympics.
I
so
like
much.
watching curling. I think it's awesome. Like
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I
friend
just
of mine
want to
does-
learn
they-
how to do it. I think I could compete in it. Like that's
Yeah.
the only thing I feel like I can athletically
Because
get
of-
into the Olympics anymore.
So someone said it looks like a group of dads just
Yeah,
on a
There's a
Saturday.
bunch of dudes with dad bods out
but
there.
Actually,
brewing.
one of my friends, little John Rinaldi's
Mhm.
son, John Rinaldi Jr., he and his friends, they in the winter they do a curling rink like in the backyard. Like they set it all up, and they
Man.
actually would do like curling events like throughout the winter. And I'm like, that's just it is such to me it's a fascinating sport,
Mhm.
because it's like, one, it's just so weird,
Yeah.
but it's like, but I get it. I mean, if you ever play like bocce ball, like anything like that,
Well, when the ESPN
there's
does the
skill to it.
ESPN Ocho thing where they
Oh,
play,
that's great.
like I love when they do that. I watch all those things.
you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Oh, dude, that movie's great.
That's one of the reasons I love when the Olympics come around, because
Mhm.
it's more like those sports are more accessible. It's so hard with YouTube TV now. We're able to see that on the Olympic channel and everything, but not everybody gets that. And I didn't always have access to that. But like all these, obscure sports and stuff, I love when the Olympics come around because it's on accessible television networks to see those and see them more consistently for an entire month or two. That's why I love the Winter Olympics. I love the Summer Olympics. I watch tennis. I'll watch any sport out there. I'll watch it. People will.
Well, that's why when you brought up soccer, I was like, go ahead, talk soccer, dude. I'm fine with learning new things, like broaden your horizons. Like, I don't want to stick to the same 4 sports that everyone listens to, watches. Like,
Yeah.
I'll watch and learn anything.
I
dude.
will say the most interesting sport. I don't want to say it's the most interesting, but I found it interesting that it was actually being broadcast on one of the ESPN channels. This was like a couple years ago. I think it came up on my Facebook, feed. Was the Pro-Am. Now I can't think of it. The beanbag
Cornhole?
Cornhole. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
cornhole is always on.
I know,
TV.
but it was like this is a couple years ago when it was
Right.
just like
I had
becoming a thing, and I'm like flipping through the channels, and it's like it's the Pro-Am, and I'm like, it was like a Pro-Am invitational.
Have
and I'm
you
like,
ever seen a professional cornhole player in person?
no.
On a cruise ship, some of these guys were professionals. Like, you
Mm.
want to play? I'm like, sure. I'm not very good. One game, I'm like, do you want to play another one? I'm like, no, I didn't score. You just beat me 21-0. They're just like in on the board, and I'm like, well, I got 1 on the board, Like,
I just saw a video.
and I don't know how they're doing this. This is on a cruise ship, and they're just destroying me. I'm like, yeah, this is no fun.
I just
I'm
saw a
outta here.
video where they were doing like the strategy, and the first one was he blocked the hole,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then every other shot was just like right over his. The other guy was like trying to shoot, and it was like sliding off the back, just right over the bag, right in the hole, right in the hole, right in the hole. And the last one, he hit the one in front of the hole, and they both went in. And it's like,
he meant to do it. That's the
yeah.
When I do that, it's totally accident, but I'll tell my friends like,
If I get
you.
it on the board, it's an accident. I'm terrible. At
I
cornhole.
shoot it like a basketball, so everyone
Oh,
thinks everyone's like, you
you
can't
do
do
overhand?
that. I'm like, just look it up. There's no rule against it.
You
but-
do an overhand.
yeah, I shoot like a
overhand shot?
basketball.
Nice.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people do like almost like the frisbee toss.
Well,
Mine's
when
more
I
like
shoot, I curl my hand so I get like high arc on it, but I can
Yeah.
spin it that way. I can't shoot underhand, otherwise I could really, really suck. But I just kind of suck when I shoot overhand.
I guess I can because like as a kid, like I learned the Jerry West like granny shot from the free throw line. Like I learned the underhanded shot. So I still go underhanded in cornhole, but it's more of like this loft. And it's probably the most arc you've ever seen on a cornhole board. Just like my JV basketball coach said in our postseason awards night, saying, man, that Kevin Arnold has the highest arcing shot I've ever seen come up. I'm like, I don't know what happens, but it works. So, whatever works for you. But I had that same moment the first time I saw cornhole on ESPN. I'm like, man, this is amazing. Like another sport I can watch on TV.
I've seen dodgeball on there. That's insane.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even play with those dudes.
No.
I think my elbow hurts now.
Man, even just playing dodgeball for a living, let alone the major 4 sports.
Oh, and they're
What a
winning huge money.
Yeah.
Huge money.
What a life.
Yeah.
What a life.
What do you do for a living? Well, I play professional dodgeball, and in the off season, I do like accounting for taxes, and that's about it.
Well, there are some guys in this town that make a lot of money shooting the basketball into the hoop, and we tease.
And they need a lot. They well do respect to talk about them.
Yes, they do. So we are going to dedicate our final segment to the Cavs just before kind of a 10-minute pregame show, if you will, as they start at 8 o'clock out there on the West Coast against the Golden State Warriors. We'll talk about the game and this team on the other side of this break. This is the Voice of Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout Northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com And make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
Welcome back to the Voice of Land here on the Big Play Network with one final segment here on the final Browns post-game show. And, we're going to kind of transition to the offseason as everyone needs to do and needs to look ahead. Well, guess what? During the Browns offseason, there are actually other sports that go on in this town. Basketball and baseball and indoor soccer, which we'll talk about in the future. But right now, the focus is basketball and on your Cleveland Cavaliers, who have gotten off to a surprising start, but have been able to maintain into 2022. And yes, they are still learning how to win and close out games as we waited for the Browns to do, but they've been able to do it and still against some pretty good competition. They have a tough test tonight against the Golden State Warriors, who are looking to join the Phoenix Suns with 30 wins on the season. They sit at 29-9. Klay Thompson makes his return after 2 seasons. Jay, we talked about it before the show. Looking at a game like this, yeah, we can break down like how the Cavs can win and the keys to the game, but going into it and just watching it, like you're watching to have a fun time watching a Cleveland team play. But now you're also starting to see, like, every single night, this team has a chance. Like, that is refreshing to see, isn't it?
I mean, they could beat anybody any given night. They're a highly competitive team right now, and they came out of nowhere. No one saw this coming this early. They thought at least one more year, but hats off to JB Bickerstaff, man. What a hell of a coach and well-deserved contract extension for him.
So why are they ahead of schedule? Because you just said like it was supposed to be like another year and maybe another draft pick or another, young piece or another asset to this team that they could add with some of the draft capital they've built up. Why are they, quote unquote, ahead of schedule, even though they're just going out there and playing basketball? But why are they playing so well?
The obvious answer is Mobley. Like, that guy is the best player in this draft. He's a phenom right now. Like, he's changed your defensive schemes completely. Like, and Jared Allen's playing awesome. Got to mention the growth from Garland from last year, Cedi Osman's growth this year, and Kevin Love, man. Kevin Love. Everyone wrote that dude off, and wow, is he bounced back this year.
6th man of the year candidate right now.
Oh, for sure.
6th man of the year candidate. I mean, I think
you just see the joy in him now. I'm so happy for the guy. Like, he just seemed so down last year, and you see him on the bench, and he is just cheering on his team, and he's just jubilant on the bench.
I saw a change in him when that issue in Toronto happened. If you remember, like Toronto scored. I think the Cavs.
Is that where he kicked the ball?
Didn't kick the ball. He just threw it in, and it went into may have been
something.
Van Vliet's hands or something like that. And they shot a 3 and they extended the lead. And Cavs were already down more.
I know what you're talking about. Yes,
but it was just like this boneheaded, stupid play, like a veteran that was like trying to get his way out of the squad. That type of play, a breaking point. And the Cavs kept him, but you could like see a change in like what he really needs to be for this team. And when he's healthy, the veteran presence coming off the bench, like he's put ego aside, he's coming off the bench and still scoring for this team. Going into that Portland game that they won, starting off a West Coast trip pretty well. It's a 6-game road trip. If they go 4-2 on it, that's big for this squad. Even if they go 500, that's still pretty big with some of the teams they got to play, including tonight on game 2. But I mean, he was scoring like 25 points or more in like
he's super accurate this year from the 3-point.
Yeah, like he knows what he is there for and he is focused on it. Cedi Osman, you mentioned him. That was a guy that, yeah, he was hanging out with KD and LeBron and workouts in the offseason. Everybody thought like, oh yeah, like he's working out. Like the one thing I hate the conversations of is, oh man, like you should see Donovan Peoples-Jones and how many catches he's making in training camp. And Richard LeCount, like how he's playing at safety in training camp. You should see the training camp that Cedi Osman's playing well against LeBron and KD in an offseason, just flat out, just plain old workout. Guess what? That doesn't translate when the lights are on brightest. Cedi was trying to be something he wasn't. He's just worked on his 3-point shot, and he's become a specialist now. When they need a basket from 3, a big jump shot from this squad, Cedi stepped up. He hit 3 big threes in that fourth quarter against Portland. Yes, I'm crazy enough, and I stayed up on Friday night to watch this team because that's how much I love Cavaliers basketball. Like if I have the opportunity, I'm going to stay up. I'm going to watch, and I'm glad the game's at 8 tonight because I got to be up early for work tomorrow, so I can still watch and get enough sleep tonight.
Another great thing that they're doing is they're playing amazing defense, man.
And
For a young team to be playing that kind of defense is just awesome, dude. Because they're only going to get better. Like Isaac Okoro, here's another kid that stepped up, man. He is just an on-ball defender. Like he's almost becoming an elitist at that.
And that's gonna be a key piece that's out for the next 2 or 3 weeks with that bruised elbow right now.
Yeah.
But it's probably been talked about, but it doesn't get talked about enough and in like a mainstream type of way. The biggest thing to me for this team and why they're playing so well is they don't give a damn about what the rest of the league is doing. Everybody, anytime a team comes out of the woodwork and wins a championship, like when the Golden State Warriors won their first championship, what did everybody try to do? They try to find shooting, they try to go small, and they were trying to draft all these guys because Golden State drafted the main 3 that started this whole run.
They try to copy what other people's successes.
It's always copycat. Professional sports is a copycat professional.
Windhurst has talked about exactly what you're talking about.
And the Cavs have finally said, like, guess what? We have really talented players here.
They're all bigs. We have awesome, talented bigs. We're going to play a big lineup.
We're going to play a big lineup. We're
playing to their strengths.
We're going to get the most out of them.
Brown's taking note.
Oh, like you're actually doing what these guys do well and allowing them to play with that kind of freedom out there. Why do you think a guy like Lamar Jackson, not to, try to compare football and basketball, but why do you think a guy like Lamar Jackson or even in basketball, Steph Curry, have so much success and have so much fun doing it? Because they were developed in a system that allowed them in a professional setting to do what they do best. What does Steph Curry do best? Shoot threes from a long range away. And it comes off of all of the movement that Steve Kerr implemented with that team and just allowing Steph Curry to be Steph Curry, allowing Klay Thompson to be Klay Thompson. And it turns into backyard basketball or backyard football with Lamar Jackson because guess what? They're having fun. They're confident in what they're doing. And when things aren't going within the structure that the team has set up, they're still allowed to go make a play somehow, some way for their team because when it gets down to it, play clock's running down, shot clock's running down. Those guys, they just go back to those days in their backyard. The clock's ticking down your head. We've all done it as kids. Cavs have a chance to win the championship. It's 10 seconds left. Kevin Arnold's dribbling at the 3-point line. 10, 9, like you count down your head and you take that shot. They're taking that little thing and they've put it into a professional setting and you don't see it necessarily, but that's what's happening. The Cavs have taken a bunch of bigs, a bunch of talented young players, put them together, allowed them to do what they do best. And the culture just naturally comes together because the players feel cared about. The players now care about their coaching staff and everybody is working in lockstep. You got to see it year to year. We didn't see it for the Browns, but this Cavs team is having a lot of success this year. And I hope that gets highlighted when the All-Star game comes here in February. I'm hoping that on a national stage, a couple of these guys get into the All-Star game, or at least are involved in All-Star festivities. And what the Cavs are doing gets highlighted and they just continue to grow from here. There's going to be growing pains still. It's going to happen. But I'm I love when Cleveland goes under the radar and it's Cleveland against the world. But give success or give kudos when kudos are due. And kudos are definitely due to this Cavs team.
Oh, totally. And I love how they just play totally unselfish basketball too. Like there's no egos on this team. There's we all love LeBron, but there is no LeBron. There's no super alpha dog out there. It's just a bunch of guys playing together and for each other.
And you said before the show, and I got to give you credit for it, like you feel like tonight they have more of a chance to beat the Golden State Warriors than, maybe you did when they were facing them in all those finals. And that's kind of a hot take, but it makes sense because it's not that one player that's overtaking everything.
We needed LeBron to play Superman basketball in Delhi to hit like 9 threes.
And boy,
And we're like, okay, this is probably not. We knew it wasn't gonna happen. We hoped it was gonna happen, but they just had all this firepower. Where these dudes, dude, Laurie Markin can drop 20 on you. Next day, Allen can drop 20 on you. All these dudes could just you go down the line. Then there's games where everyone's in double figures. You look and there's 8 people in double figures.
well, and
How do you prepare for that? When you go to like when the Spurs played LeBron in the first finals, what do? Shut down LeBron. We'll worry about everybody else. I don't care. Just shut down LeBron. You want to key up on Garland? Well, guess what? Our bigs are gonna dunk all over you.
if you're gonna copy anybody, it's what the Spurs did under Greg Popovich, and it's. I'm not comparing what the Cavs are right now to the Spurs. What I'm saying is,
But that's exactly what they're doing.
the Spurs put a team first mentality together and allowed the size of the guys and the talent of the guys, the skill of those guys to just go out there and do what they do best and showed them how it can all work together. The Cavs are doing that with a different size lineup, different type of skill set. Again,
I mean, when the Spurs, that's funny you said it. When the Spurs got started, they had 2 bigs.
they did. They had,
Like, Duncan learned a ton from David Robinson.
right. So
You got Mobley learning from Allen. Like,
Mhm.
you don't think he's not getting a ton of help from that guy defensively? How to learn?
and even Allen's like a young guy that's
I
still
love that dude. Like, he
he's-
might be my favorite player on the Cavs right now.
he's like, you just look at him, he's just whether
It's my goal to get him on this show. Like, I have to get that fro on
we
this
would
show.
love that.
He's got the friendliest looking smile. It looks like you just go up to him and he would have a conversation with you and be super friendly about it. But he's got the best fro in the league, man.
If anybody out there, like, let's try to get people that are listening to the show, whether on replay or live right now, start tweeting at Jared Allen. Let's get him on the Voice of Land, because I feel like, we didn't do a good enough job when we were, and we still are big fans of Jarvis Landry, but trying to get Jarvis on this show, man, I would love to have Jared Allen on here, because he's having fun all the time. Like, even if someone scores on him, he's just like, dang, you got me this time. Wait till the next time.
When he blocks people, man, he blocks the crap out of you. And I almost swore there, but
but and he's aggressive and he's like locked into the game. He's a competitive guy, but when he makes that block, like, it looks like a little kid, like having just the time of his life, like that.
that energizes the team, man. I don't know about you guys. When people get like a swat on someone, I get pumped.
I do too. Those types of teams, those types of players are the epitome of when guys say, like, man, I'm one of the luckiest person in the world. I'm getting paid to play a kid's game. They're like, legitimately, it looks like a kid playing the game, professional NBA players' body and skill set. And with that kind of killer mentality when you need to have it out on the floor. It's fun, and looking forward to, as we get off here right now, tuning over to the Cavs. Win or lose tonight, there's going to be fun moments, and you're going to see a lot of skill get developed from this young squad.
Yeah, I love talking to all y'all, but we got to get the hell out of here so we can watch that game.
We got to get out of here to watch the Cavs. I didn't put on the sweatshirt for nothing tonight. So
well, shout out to Random Acts Kindness. I put it on for a reason.
There you go.
I'll tag our boy Ricky Smith.
Absolutely. So we will post clips throughout the week, but we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. A good conversation. Yes, I know we joked last week. We are no longer a Brown show. We're just like Big Play Dave said that his reflux show is no longer a Brown show. They're just going to talk Cavs and whatever. But yes, we are going to talk Browns. If you want the real conversations, you want the reality of it, even if you don't agree with our opinions, if you want to have a show where your opinions matter, right here, Voice of Land, we'll still talk about them, but we are also focused on the teams in season like the Cavs, and as the Guardians get going and the Cleveland Crunch, we will have all of that here for you on the Voice of Land with our new permanent co-host, Always Positive Jay, join the show. Thank you so much for APJ and our producer extraordinaire, the AI System Audio, or better known as Peter Tellett behind that proverbial glass. Kevin R. reminding all of you out there, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. And we truly love you all. 3,000. Stay safe out there. We will see you all next week.